Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of ages, welcome back to the Mangreen Gaming Channel as I, the Mangreen, bring you all things video games. We are back with Pillars of Eternity, the Lore Run Edition. We're doing this because a Vow has just came out. It's officially launched, and it's in the Pillars of Eternity universe. So we're doing Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2, which are going to be lengthy games anyway. But I've never actually beat Pillars of Eternity or Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. So we're going to run that just for me as well, but to get the lore of 1 and 2 before we go to a vow. So, in the game-wise, we've made it through the bivouac, we've gone through the runs, we've had our vision of a strangely robed older man in a weird face mask sacrificing people to a big machine. We've come to the Gilded Veil. We've learned about their plague, their Wayland's legacy, where children are being born without souls. They're hollowborn. So now we're just exploring here, basically. We gotta make it to the inn. Yeah, I don't know why I can't say inn, but gotta make it to the inn. Try to get some rest. We used to be a lot more fortunate to come to here. Lord Rookhouse had us chase them off. I told her, that's not a pistol. No. You see 4 people gathered by the door to the inn. They raise voices. Their raised voices and chopping gestures suggest an argument reaching at its climax. The first figure raises his hands for calm. His face is apparently obscured by a hood, but his height and stature suggest an elf.
I meant no offense. Let's put this matter to rest over a round, shall we? My treat.
Hoping to soothe our pride with a few Adira coppers, eh? We don't need your coin.
Everybody stay calm. What's this about? I'm sure it's an overreaction. Angry townsman. One of the other men glares at the hooded elf. His eyes are red from drink and his gaze is focused. We're humble folk. We're no fools. I like he thinks, mocking us while he shelters in our village. We do not take kind of talk from foreigners, especially not Adarians.
Go on. Say it again. I'm itching for an excuse.
Why, you're itching for the kindling touch of your sister, you cocksfeather!
I'll cut that barrel-licking tongue out of your head.
This is a misunderstanding. I didn't say whatever it is you think I said. We've no quarrel.
That's where you're wrong.
I don't think attacking him is such a good idea. Back down, all of you. This is absurd. This is unnecessary. Wouldn't you rather be inside drinking than out here arguing? We don't want your charity either, foreigner. They squint at you through red, blurry eyes. Sounds suspicious, like you're defending him. Oh, well, okay. Alright, let's do this.
That's how it's done!
As the last of the attackers fall, the elf turns to you, the tension almost gone from his
Not
smooth
quite
face.
how I hoped to get to know the neighbors. Thank you for your timely assistance with that awkward situation.
I'm glad I could
Courtesy
help.
is a rare pleasure in these parts. Though your accent suggests that you are no more local than I.
He straightens his head and notes the remains of the fraying embroidery on his gloves. His boots are caked with the dirt of many months' travel, but the leather work beneath it is sturdy and
I suppose
fine.
introductions are in order after that little fiasco. Aloth Corvisor, at your service.
Tell me
I'm
about
a
stuff.
wizard by training, and an adventurer by necessity. I was born in the Seathwood, part of the mainland of the Adir Empire. Both of my parents served the nobility, which afforded me an education for which I am grateful. However, there were no open positions in those houses, and so I decided to seek new means in a new land. And how exactly did you come to be here?
I was traveling with a caravan when we were separated near some
In
ruins.
Gwithan Ruins? Those can be dangerous places during the best of times, which these are not. And half the locals would arrest you for trespassing and the rest would kill you outright. I'm curious, what exactly did you find there? And you
A
survived?
bivouac.
I've heard such a thing was impossible. But it seems you either have a knack for timing or the favor of the gods.
What are you doing in Gilded Vale?
Excellent question. I came
Both
looking for
signed
fresh
frowns
air
look
and
towards
cheap land.
town.
Instead, the magistrate gave me directions to the inn and a story about the local lord's expectant wife.
Cocked his
But
head looking
I
at you.
take it that's a familiar tale.
I'm experiencing strange things of late. I'm looking for an expert on
Indeed.
souls.
The local lord has searched far and wide for similar specialists. He has rid himself of them almost as desperately.
He nods at the gnarled old tree in the center of town. How did you manage to cross those
I'm
three
afraid
drunks?
that was a matter of misunderstandings and mistranslations. It doesn't help that people in these parts remember their war with Adir like it was yesterday.
He did rather lewd suggestion regarding one of their aggressors and his own sister. Ah, that clears his throat and adjusts his sleeves as I tried to tell them. He misheard me. Happens all too easily after a few pints, and the accent doesn't help. I see. For which I'm grateful. Let's discuss something else, shall we? You don't exactly look like a
Begging your
settler.
pardon, but neither do you. Yet, circumstances can find a person in the strangest of places. As should I, given recent events. It's just as well. I've had enough of the watered wine and lumpy beds at the inn. They say even the owner tired of the place. Just up and left one day. It explains quite a lot about the upkeep. Perhaps I could join you. I could use a change of scenery, and I find it's better to travel in numbers.
So do I. Let's go then.
Excellent. I shall follow you.
Cool. I have a companion. The Black Hound. This place is going under at the but it's held out.
Hail, traveler.
Oh, greetings and welcome to the Black Hound Inn. Please sit where you like. Would you like a drink or a room? We have two available at the moment. I'm afraid we can't offer much by the way of a good meal today unless you're fond of cold porridge. I'd like a room, please. Well, of course, we keep them nice and tidy. Yes. Ooh. Your sleep was restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of Gilded Vale's gallows trees, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face is shriveled inward like molding fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly her head snaps up and her eyes open. They are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts with a gust of rancid air, and she speaks, "Watcher." You jolt awake to foul smell of the dwarf's woman breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face, and the thick droplets in your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an antimancer. Though it fills you with a new queasy apparition, you feel strangely compelled to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead.
Good day to you.
Yeah, something for sale. Nothing for me, thanks. Of course, we're running a little short on goods now these days, but we got more. Yeah. What is that, club? Dagger, 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 dagger. Hatchet. Spear. Thing. Hunting bow. Camping supplies, except
Well met, friend.
I'd like to know more about the Black Hound. Really? Well, let me see. The actual building's been here for years, but the Black Hound's fairly new. We got a lot of new faces in here too, fewer than we used to, I admit. I used to work the tables actually until the old owner up and left. Nobody's sure what happened to him. He even left his poor hound behind. That's the name, see, the Black Hound is still sitting upstairs pining after him. Poor little girl. You serve porridge? Adolf looks at you and shakes his head quickly. Isn't my choice, I assure you. We used to serve some of the finest meals in Deerwood. But we had that damnable run of luck, is all. It's been a bad season of crops and we're running low on supplies. I sent Tariff up north to stock up. Tariff's our cook, you see. He's an artist with a good roast. But it's been days since he's supposed to return and I haven't seen any sign of him. I could try to find him for you. Really? I'd be grateful to you if you did. He was traveling through the Vale Wood. It's probably nothing, a broken wheel, maybe. But I do worry. Oh, we'll find him.
Let's see what's in here.
These guys are like the backers, aren't they? Yeah, they're Ones with the gold names, they have like their own story and everything. That's what I was thinking. There's the black hound. I could use a good dog. Here, girl. Dog Peters picks it up and trots over to you and barks happily. Yay! We have the black hound. Move the stash. The big's okay. But I like the dog better. I like the doggo better. Well, let's go talk to this dead dwarf lady.
Were you looking for someone in that tree? I could introduce you.
Thanks for anyone that can help me feel better. He gives an understanding nod as he takes a long drag from his pipe. My condolences. He exhales and turns his attention away, watching the villagers around him. Together beneath the roots are branches of twine and bead, withering flowers and notes. Cassandra Debo throughout the squat, distilled body of an elderly drum worn that dangles from a thin crooked brow that sends the tip of her noose. The blooded purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other as the breeze shifts. You perceive a faint glow around her to cast no light on its surroundings, but there's a tepid warmth to it, and you feel someone you can reach out and touch it with your hands. But some aspect of yourself, there is no worldly dimension. Reach out for the woman. Take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her in a new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you've expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing, or surge of images, words, and sounds. Valentine, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down some deep consciousness in space, occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she is staring at you, with her eyes caught in a milky fog, her body still swaying. And then when you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void, the woman gives you a slow nod of her head, and the rope creaks as she does so. She smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
Am I imagining this?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy, even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I. Wherever here may be.
How am I able to speak to you?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
I need to understand something that's happening to me. She nods and look of pity on her face as though consulting a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a Watcher now, and a Watcher you will stay.
What is a Watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair, and here we are visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either living or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how. A Watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their honor can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
What do you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties. You should see old Meerwald. He could tell you much more than I. A Watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
I survived the Bayoak. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no?
You said souls break apart over time.
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think. Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
Who are you?
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
What happened to you? She laughs, a rasping choke crackled, escaping between the rows of buttery yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down. With each spasm, seeing her blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer. Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
What is an adamantium?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been made. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us? The best? Inspirations. Miracle workers. My parents were soul twins. Miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other. Turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear. Of course, dear. Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Azoth looks at you through narrow eyes. Are you alright? You seemed lost just now. I'm a watcher. Sarge's eyebrows receded into his head. Well, that is interesting. And I expected the explanation of how you survived the bivouac. In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share things. Do you know anything about watchers? Only they're rare. They seem to have unique insights into certain things and soul conditions he calls. As you demonstrated, let's continue. Okay.
17.
The smell of pipe smoke at once earthly and sweet winds its way into your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origins, where you find a broad man with straw-colored hair leaning against a mossy rock wall, his pipe held to his lips with one meaty hand. He looks at you differently in his eyes, but look is not aggressive. He regards you with particular smirk.
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
I'm
The
sorry?
dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
What are you
The
talking
people
about?
hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Adolph frowns. Is this what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
What are you talking about? People hanging from the tree, 18 of them, last time I counted anyway. What makes you think I'm interested in the dwarf woman? He looked at the wall and his brows arched, his smirk
I was
broadened.
smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Do you know what a watcher
Careful,
is?
friend. Best not use that word round here. There'd be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be. Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
Not taken. Good, that don't mean it personal when they're hanging folks around here.
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
The war? Saints War. Only one in my lifetime. Fellows decide he's the living incarnation of it. Atheos. Over those Redonos. Marches on Deerwood, so we have to give him a Deerwood hello. What's a Deerwood hello? God of rebirth and redemption. Formerly, anyhow. Maybe they'll call him something different where you're from. Why was your headman hanged? Got involved. Radric's men sent him down here the other day. Said they had it on good authority someone down was working with Cossack, plotting Radric's overthrow. Said if he didn't come forward right then and there, then hang every last one of us. No one was coming forward, so Switland, that's my headman, he stepped up and said it's him. They took him at his word. What does your town have against
Picked
you?
the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, there's a temple to him, to give you some idea. Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, then I did too. But, he didn't make it back. After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Radric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
Here's Cossack. Someone that got tired of all the hangings. He's on the run now. Probably will be till they catch him. If you're next to be hanged, what are you still doing here? Drinking, mostly? When in fact, I'm on my way out. I haven't just figured out where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there. I don't think Wandering like they started with the Wandering. We could travel together. Where you headed? Some place called Kalanua. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help
I
me.
seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger, and a strange one at that. But truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
Odd reason if I ever heard one.
All right then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
Cool. Got another companion.